I'm wearing my Goth earring.
Ooh, I thought I had seen it there. Is it just clips to the top, or
It's
do you have
clips
it?
to the top, yeah. I kind of want to
Oh,
get
that's
up here.
cool.
I kind of want to get up here pierced and do like a
Yeah,
Bajoran thing.
yeah,
But I haven't done that yet.
yet. And then what you do is you get your lip over to your nose, going over the bridge to the other nose, and then a line to the ear, and then another chain to that first bottom lip.
And then something
And
into
then
the
you're in the
septum.
Chucky. Oh, there you go. Maybe loop through the septum, and then you're in the Chucky movie, and Chucky grabs that and he rips it all out.
Uh, what better selling point than that?
What better selling point than to be killed by Chucky at the beginning of the one with Jennifer Tilly bouncing around everywhere?
Lazor Comb.
We are not going to panic.
What the heck even happened to you, man?
Vengeance.
Shrimp Daddy! Ha 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 ha!
Give him a hockey stick!
What am I, fucking magician, man?
Am I some kind of fucking magician, man?
Fucking nerd.
Whatever. It's not like we're professionals anyway.
And I'm not sorry anymore.
Time to big brain.
Every day, yes.
What is the airwolf of trains?
Good evening, Arkham Asylumers. Welcome to episode 123 of the Lazor Comb podcast, the show where we comb through random episodes of classic TV with a fine-tooth laser. I am, as always, one of your hosts, G. Siege PD.
That's right, and some people call me Cal Cone, but also known as Neo Cal.
Cal.
Doesn't roll off the tongue like Falcone, but Calcone will have to do.
Calmine Calcone.
Calmine Calcone. There we go.
We're making Batman references because this week on the Lazor Comb podcast, we're talking about the very first episode of Gotham.
Looking into the eyes of a criminal, you have to ask, how will a little girl, a low-level thug, a businesswoman, become the most dangerous villains around? Simple answer. They all got their start in this city, and it's up to us to stop them.
That's right. We rolled a natural one when we were reviewing Gotham.
Only the third time it's happened on this podcast have we landed at entirely at
And I'm
random
thankful.
on the 1st episode.
I'm really thankful we rolled lower instead of higher. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's right. We're covering Gotham.
We're covering Gotham, yeah, the series premiere, and to I guess kind of give away my rating like right out of the gate. This is a damn strong series premiere. Like
Holy fuck, man.
a lot of the shows kind of stumble out of the gate and kind of find their footing a few episodes in, or even like a couple
Right.
or even in the next season. No, this show hits the ground running.
Not only does it hit the ground running, for a show that is essentially, I mean, not really, like there's a lot of big names in episode ones, but there's a lot of new-ish faces for most people. And and like what I mean is there's a lot of risk factor, like new actors, child actors always make people or whatever. Oh man, there's not a lot this episode does wrong. So kudos to the actors and giving child actors a chance.
We've talked about this before.
This could have easily been a show with just ignoring the like Cat and Bruce, for example.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but kid characters in movies and TV often tend to be kind of annoying. That I don't really think that's the case in the show, though.
No, God damn. And it's quite interesting too, because I'm pretty sure the actress that plays Kat, her only line in the first episode is pss, 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 as she calls a cat
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
like feed it milk. I don't think she says anything. She's just like she's not the audience surrogate. She's just there. She's like moving around, like observing different things.
Yeah, she is played by Cameron Bykondova, who I believe was a dancer, a professional dancer. She hasn't really acted much since Gotham, but from the looks of it, although she was in a movie that came out last year called Festival of the Living Dead, a Tubi original.
Mm. So she was what, a teenager when this?
Yeah,
She's 26. She
she's
was born in 99. Mother
she's
of God.
she's 26 now, so she would 99. She's born in 99. She would have been like 15 or so.
15, 16. Yeah. So
And Bruce Wayne is played by David
David.
Mazouz.
That's it. Yeah.
Mazouz, who is 24 now. It's kind of weird that these children in this show that how long ago this show was now that these children are like
Right.
grown ass adults.
It is right, because you're like mentioning like, oh yeah, let's see what they've done or whatever. And I'm like, no, surely they are still a child.
It's like nope, that that that's how progression
That's how
of
time works.
He hasn't really done much either since Gotham, honestly, by the looks of it.
Got
But
out while they're still ahead.
who else have we got? We've got James to talk about. Continue talking about the cast and characters of this show.
Mhm.
So Gotham is essentially a like prequel to the Batman mythos. So main characters are, we've already mentioned Selena Kyle, the girl who would be Cat,
Mhm.
and Bruce Wayne.
They call her Cat in the show, or am I remembering wrong?
Um,
Wrong?
we've got Bruce, the boy who would be Bat,
So we got girl who would be Cat, boy who will be Bat, right?
and we've got
Penguin who will be Fat.
We've got Ben McKenzie playing Gordon, who would be Kamish.
Yeah.
We've got the great Donald Luge.
Right? What a pull.
He's a great character actor.
Right?
He plays Harvey Bullock, who it didn't occur to me until today, but Harvey Bullock is a pretty common and popular supporting character in the Batman mythos. He's never been in any of the movies.
Yeah.
He was in Batman the Animated Series quite a bit,
Mhm.
but he's never been in the movies. So
Yeah, just never been in a movie.
So, kudos to the makers of the creators of Gotham.
Yeah. Robin Lord Taylor plays Penguin.
Penguin, best Penguin. I
Honestly,
do really, until Colin Farrell came along, because I really like his take on the Penguin. But other than that, Robin Lord Taylor, best Penguin.
Here's the thing, okay? Like you had said, well, like this is kind of giving like playing with an open hand, but like I really liked this, right?
Mhm.
To mirror that, like there's a lot of best everything
Mhm.
on this show. I think it's the best Alfred.
I was just gonna say, speaking of the best of things,
Best Penguin, best Alfred.
Sean Pertwee plays Alfred, and honestly, it's not even a close competition, honestly. He is hands down my favorite Alfred actor.
Right.
Now, to be fair, I haven't seen that show Pennyworth, so I can't really judge on that. But based on based on all the Alfreds I've seen in like the movies and like animated shows and whatnot, this is my favorite Alfred. Who else have we got? We've got Corey Michael Smith playing Best Riddler.
Honestly, yeah. Here's the thing. If you kind of feel for each of the characters in the first episode, I feel like it's done its job exceedingly well
Hmm.
because there are so many shows, countless shows where I've given it like the old maximal try, and I've watched like 1, 2, like 3 episodes, and I don't fucking care about any of the characters. And there's so much
Sorry, which
emotional
show?
whiplash. Uh, Many shows.
Oh, okay.
Like where I'll watch, like I'll give up on it, and I'm like, I don't care about these characters, right?
Mhm.
Um, and even though we
Even though.
even though we watched the Gotham TV show, um,
Nice.
fuck. I don't even know what I was gonna say. Oh, even though it's like, hey, did you forget Batman's parents got killed? Keep in mind, this is 2014, 2015,
2014.
2014, where it's like they gotta show it. Not because we forget that Batman's parents get shot, but because goddamn did they nail that moment where they cemented the beginning of a relationship between Gordon and between Jim and Bruce Wayne.
Yes. In this case,
That
in this
ooh, I liked that. I liked it.
because of that. In this case, I think you need to see the parents getting murdered. This is one of the only cases where I would make that argument. Like Batman v Superman, a movie that I like more than most people. It even does the parents murder, and it's like that movie doesn't fucking need it.
It doesn't.
It doesn't need it. What's even in the slightest? The only
And
reason.
at first, I was like, "Oh, you can't do the murder without the pearls." And then the pearls fall on the ground, and I was like, "They even did the pearls. Come on!" And then I ate my own hat when it showed the emotional range of that actor that plays like Bruce interacting with Gordon.
Martha. Why did you say that name? It's his mother's name. I like that movie, but yeah, I'm not. It does get valid criticism.
Yeah. To love something is to also criticize it.
Yeah,
That's the subtitle of the Lazor Comb podcast.
a lot of that the shit that movie takes from most people is well deserved, but I still like it.
I know I have movies like that too. Movies where you're like, yeah, well, I don't care. I still liked it.
It's cool to see Bruce Wayne driving through Metropolis in an SUV while it's being destroyed by Superman and Zod completely fucking the place up. It's cool when he puts on the armored bat suit and like Superman, who's depowered, like goes to like throw a punch, and Batman throws up his like arm and blocks the punch to like Superman's shock. Like it's full of cool little moments like that.
The moments. And normally I'd go through this is an hour long. Gotham's a 50-minute show.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of in between, so we'll probably just talk about the major swings and major characters rather than like scene by scene. But before we get into the actual episode, just even Fish Mooney, played by
Jada Pinkett Smith.
Jada Pinkett Smith, controversial opinion, pretty hot as a intermediate, like a middle crime boss. I'm just saying. If you putting all the other the pretending I don't know who that is, I dig I dig this character.
Yeah, I think she's one thing where our opinions kind of differ. Is I've always kind of felt like she's the weak link in the show, and indeed she ends up leaving.
You mentioned
the
that,
series
yeah,
eventually,
but then kind of coming back, but then not really. Anyways, I digress. This is episode 1, but yeah, you always felt like she was the weak link. So
I was kind of glad when they wrote her out of the show,
because we're talking about it in broader strokes here. Do you feel like she's in the show for star power? Like, why do you feel like that was the weaker?
I'm just not a huge fan of her character, and I think I'm also just not a fan of Jada Pinkett Smith. as an actress.
That's fair. I wouldn't say she's outstanding in in anything.
But and she definitely overacts. But there's a lot of overacting going on in this show. But it kind of works.
Yeah. It kind of works, and this is something that and I agreed with Siege on. You had mentioned to me earlier through text that this kind of feels more like a comic book than any other movie or show iteration of Batman or
anything
Gotham
really.
in general, or anything in general. And maybe we should start there.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off of that, so perhaps controversial opinion, but I rewatching this, I think this is actually the perfect comic book show. And not in terms of plot or in terms of characters or anything like
Or
that.
even necessarily like what was the big one we watched where it would like freeze frame and like, what was it, Spawn, that kind of like zoomed into the pages? Or maybe I'm remembering Comic Zone.
Comic Zone definitely did that.
Maybe I'm remembering something we've covered wrong, but like,
But this show, it's kind of dark.
overacting is part of that. That's
Absolutely.
why I wanted to lead with that. Overacting is a bit of, is part of that.
So this show is it's quite violent. It's kind of dark. It's kind of gritty, but at the same time, it's also kind of flashy and over the top in a way that you only really see in comic books. And so
And the lines can be cheesy, but people wouldn't question it in a comic book. Like when he sits Bruce down and he's like, I know this feels like really dark, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, or like there is light in the
there
darkness.
will be light, Bruce. There will be light.
And it's like, fuck off. His parents just died. But if you think about it in a comic, because from realistic, I'm like, dude, can you fuck off? Don't try to help him get over his parents when they're lying freshly killed 15 feet away.
Yeah.
Like now's not the time or whatever. But in a comic book stance, that's a golden panel. Like that's a great,
Totally.
hey, this is one of the positive role models for Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually one of the themes, one of the plots of episode 1. And I got kind of chills at the scene at the end when Gordon visits the manor to like hand in his badge. But
yeah, because
I was actually moved by that.
Because
Gordon's real G, man.
Gordon makes Bruce a promise that he's going to find the person who killed his parents. And they do catch someone, and that person ends up getting killed, trying to escape.
Mario Pepper. What a name.
The father to she who would be Ivy.
And if it wasn't, and again, comic book, right? Very heavy-handed, a scraggly, abused, clearly the wife and daughter of this guy are like fucking abused, right? Wife is a black guy, the kid's afraid of him. Oh no, like my you have to go. My dad's gonna be angry, right? But she's watering plants every scene she's in. Specifically Ivy growing up the windows, right? So if it's
foreshadowing.
But she doesn't have green and red glitter going across her eyes, and she's wearing a unitard, and she's like, Batman, welcome to my lair. Like it doesn't need that, and that's the kind of like gritty realism that I'm a big fan of in this. So it manages to be comic book in its presentation, but like feel almost like a police procedural, but not enough to bore you.
I love the scene where we're introduced to Edward Nygma, and he's like trying to like.
I wish he had a little bit more airtime because I really like him.
He's great. Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters in the show. But when we're introduced to him, he's working at the police department as like an analyst or something. And he goes to like relay his like findings to like Gordon and Bullock. And Bullock is like, no riddles, no bullshit, just tell it to us straight. And he looks so disappointed. He's like, oh.
Like he had thought up a delivery for like the bullet, and he
Yeah.
was shot down immediately.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, this is a .25 like caliber. Here's the thing though, it wasn't fired out of any model,
He's
which
like,
means this was like a custom made gun.
and they're like, so do you have any leads? He's like, what is everywhere and nowhere all at once? And Gordon's like, nothing.
And then he walks away, and he seems there's kudos to this actor. His name was, I literally just said it earlier.
Corey
Michael Smith. He conveys not only is he kind of happy that he's like entertaining, that Gordon is entertaining his like riddles and his like, like puns or like that kind of thing, but also surprised and or impressed that he got it so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, hey, wait a second, this guy's smart.
Yeah, there's kind of a like there's one of the reasons why I really...
Gordon's the first person to get one of his riddles and even try to answer. Like that's the vibe I got from him.
Yeah, totally. One of the reasons why Corey Michael Smith is my favorite actor to portray the Riddler in anything of all time is because he has this like kind of cunning playfulness to him and just how he delivers his lines.
And that's the thing. We're seeing kind of just Gotham is interesting because we're seeing kind of normal people get hurt and victimized by Gotham, by the corruption, and become bad people, because it bothers me that people aren't nice to him, because I actually quite like him.
Yeah. And indeed, one of the reasons why, if I recall correctly, it's been a long time since I watched the show, one of the reasons why he kind of breaks bad is because people are like kind of shitty toward him all the time. And he kind of just gets fed up with it.
Abuse his generosity, and yeah. I can't quite... I know he likes somebody that's like in the office. And if I recall...
He ends up accidentally killing her, if I recall correctly.
She's nice to him, or she likes him, or something like that. But does he have like a darker side? Oh, I can't remember. It's been like a decade since I've watched this, people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways,
the show ended in 2019, and I think that was around the last time until today I revisited it. Spoilers, I'm actually going to start watching through it again. I have like the whole series legally acquired.
Of course.
Amazingly, it's not available to stream anywhere because it was on Netflix for so many years.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it is not.
Mm-hmm.
So legally acquiring it is we go.
So
as for the show in its entirety, maybe she ends up being really cool later. She doesn't. But I think the whole show would be better. Okay, here's the thing. I don't believe in like bi or like a gay erasure. Right? Like I'm fine with having those like characters represented.
You're talking about Barbara,
I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
I think the show, if an entire show would be better if a character was just not present. I feel no better candidate is Barbara in the TV show Gotham.
Right.
I feel like her character actually gets worse and worse and worse as the show goes on, to the point where it was like, hey, why don't we make a bipolar, crazy, bisexual arc?
She ends up falling into the trope of like the evil, psychotic, bisexual woman.
And so then it's like, hey, oh yeah, I want representation. And then you do that, and it's like, but also like none of it's good. Like,
I have heard it argued, and who was it that said this? I think it might have been John Waters, who said any representation is positive representation. And I mean that's debatable, but that was his stance on it. And John Waters makes some weird ass movies.
fair.
They're too
Yeah,
much for me.
and we get a young penguin played by Robin Lord Taylor, who's
Best Penguin.
best penguin, and it's because he walks. He has a leg injury, and he walks kind of with a limp, with like one leg kind of like horizontal, right? So that's where he got the nickname, and it establishes early on that he tries to stick up for himself and be like, "Hey, I don't like fucking being called that." But it also shows us that he's sadistic. They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, hey, what's the character's name? Not Penguin, but
Butch. You're probably thinking of Butch, right?
not no, not Butch. Penguin's character's name, his first name, or what they
Oh,
call him.
Oswald.
Yeah. They're like, "Hey, you want to crack at this guy?" And he's got the baseball bat, and he's like, beating the shit out of him. I really like the arc, even in just episode 1. It kind of tells a complete story just in episode 1. He's a lackey. He's sadistic. He's whiny and snivelly. But he's like a trusted kind of like aide to Fish Mooney.
But he's also ambitious.
But he's also ambitious. What an interesting combination to have a cowardly, ambitious character.
Right?
And I kind of love it.
You know who else I like? Is the character Butch, who, spoilers, later on in the show ends up becoming Solomon Grundy. But
Was that like near to the end?
I think that might have been like season 3 or 4, yeah.
When people started coming back from the I don't care about spoiling anything. When people start coming back from the dead, and it makes all the prior seasons like not matter, I was like,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that is like literally like Solomon Grundy's origin. Is he like
that's specifically his whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Kudos for recognizing Game. Even though he's like a side character, man, he's great. He's very believable.
In the scene where you just talked about, where they give the penguin the bat and he starts like beating on the guy.
A guy that owes the money, yeah.
Gordon shows up and Butch is just like, "Hey, detective, new in town, huh? How do you like
Hi,
Gotham?"
How do you like Gotham? Hey, oh, my name's blah blah blah, and what's yours? Like, he's just very like nonchalant about it.
We're just having some fun here. It's all in good fun, right? Right? And Oswald is like, "Yeah, all," as he's holding the bat. "Yeah, all in good fun." And the guy that he's just been beating on was just like, "Yeah, thumbs up. Yeah, lots of fun."
And this also gives a really harrowing depiction of how shit actually has to work in Gotham. We join Gordon on his right. We join Gordon on his "I need to do shit right" quest, where at the very beginning there's a crazy dude who grabs a gun and holds a police officer like hostage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And like 20 detectives and officers pull their guns on him. And he's like, hey, I got this, or whatever.
Because the guy is all like, "I need my pills. I need my pills."
And he just picks up random, it's like Tylenol or something, but he like turns the label away and he's like, "I got your pills right here. You want some pills? Who's a good boy?"
He starts shaking them in front of him like dog treats. He's like, oh, here. He pulls one out and like goes to give it to the guy.
Right. And it shows what a sad affair, almost too real, where it's like, oh, this guy's fallen through the cracks and his like medication isn't like being covered.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like and that's more topics for like certain movies, like the whole Joker. The whole Joker series is about, hey, what if social services didn't help people that needed help? And that's not really the focus here, but it is interesting that like the guy's like, "Get back, I need my medication or else. And I'm like, man, this city fucking sucks. Why does anyone live here?
Well, to be fair, he just says his pills. We don't know if it's like a
Oh, his
medication
pills.
that he
You know
needs,
what? Fair.
or if it's just like a narcotic that
He-
he's an addict.
Yeah,
Either way,
Kurt
it's-
walks is like oxy. Yeah,
Either way, it still kind of sucks, but the
And,
show doesn't really go into it.
he disarms him by getting like close and gets the gun away from him, and then the police all beat up on him or whatever. And his oh my god, I just forgot his name. His partner, because
Bullock.
he's new to the force. Yeah, Bullock is like, hey, like I know you're like new here, like whatever, but like if someone steals a cop's gun, you shoot them.
You put a bullet in them.
Like that's and to be fair, we see this throughout episode 1. He was being shot at by Mario Pepper, who for a heavy dude, that dude is Assassin's Creed. That was like a 5-minute chase scene with this guy, and I'm like, holy fuck, was that guy must have been like a quarterback.
See, as a viewer, I already knew that this Mario Pepper guy wasn't the killer because and now the police characters wouldn't know this because they weren't there. But in the opening scene, the Wayne family murders, it's a very like average sized dude, but this Mario Pepper guy is fairly overweight
and very tall. He's like a huge dude.
So as a viewer, I'm like, I know it's not him. You know who else is tall? Is Carmine Falcone, which I didn't really take notice of until the final scene where you see him and Gordon like standing, like talking to one another, and he like towers. Dude. He like towers over him. Also, John Doman, probably my favorite Carmine Falcone too.
Yeah.
He gives a really.
That's a good scene.
It is a good scene.
The end there.
Yeah, he gives a very like strong monologue to Gordon.
I knew your father. Actually, like what you could say is we had a friendship of sorts.
And because Gordon says that he's like, well, you know, I've just saved your life, and so what are you going to do? What are you going to do now? He's like, oh, I'm going to like tell everyone what I know. And he basically says to him, he basically tells him that organized crime and law enforcement in Gotham are so intrinsically linked and keep the city functioning to a level that what good is it going to do if he goes and exposes everything? It's not going to change anything. And in fact, it might just make everything worse.
And he doesn't say this because like he doesn't make threats directly. He's Falcone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what's going to happen? Nothing. And you and your loved ones might die. As we find out, like, the mission that he's given by Falcone later. So this is, like, a long thing. Like, you aren't, like, busting the case wide open in season 1, buddy. Like,
yeah.
If you want to change things, this is, like, a lifelong project.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is...
That probably won't go the way you want it to anyway.
It's probably not going to go the way you want it to. So like, are you going to be smart or are you going to throw your life away? Kind of deal. What happens in this? So it's about finding the killer, right? They chase down. He surprisingly parkour. This heavy dude.
Yeah.
Tries to fight. He's shooting at Gordon. And Gordon ducks down and blocks some bullets or whatever. And he's like, stop or I'll shoot. And he keeps running. And then he doesn't shoot. Even when a gun is being pointed at him. And he is being shot at. Which, by the way, anybody like listening to this, like you have, if anyone's trying to shoot you and you're holding a gun too, and they started it, you can end it. And he's a cop, which is exactly what their protocol is supposed to be. Nope. He waits until the guy like runs out of bullets and throws his gun down and then goes and like hand-to-hand combats him in an alley. But then the guy pulls a knife and he's like, okay, fine, let's do this. Shoot him, dude. And sure enough,
never bring a gun to a knife fight.
never bring a gun to a Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Oh, it's just
Never bring a
it's
weapon
like,
to a
why
fight,
would-
period.
He puts his gun down while the guy has a knife so that he can fight him hand to hand. And I'm just like, there's nothing stopping you from shooting this guy in like the shoulder or like the leg. You're not supposed to. You shoot to kill. I understand like police protocol and like all of that stuff.
Well,
but
it's a good thing he learned CQC from the boss.
And that's right. Maybe the boss when he was doing his military tour.
Yeah. He's still in a dream.
Holy
Snake eater.
shit. Snake eater. Everybody take a drink.
Yeah.
We mentioned Metal Gear when we weren't reviewing it. So he gets shot by his partner. It looks like he's just shot in the shoulder, but then they say he died on the scene. So he's dead, and it's like, oh, well, case closed. And then it shows like CSI going in, opening up like a box, finding a gun, right? And then like opening up a cocaine thing. And I'm like, why is this guy tampering with evidence? And later on, now it like kind of all makes sense that they know what they're like looking for. But like the CSI guy is like, even though he's wearing gloves, he's just like moving everything and like touching everything. He opens a thing of cocaine. I was half expecting this guy to be like, he reaches in somehow. Again, they would never do this, and finds a pearl necklace, and the viewer knows that the pearl necklace fucking broke.
Yeah.
This is like a whole pearl necklace, and he's like, bingo, and dangles it in front of everybody, and they're all like, we got the guy. Oh yeah.
Case closed. But then we
closed.
quickly find out that it was all bullshit, and
It's BS.
it was bullshit that was manufactured by Fish Mooney. And indeed, Penguin knows this, and Penguin, being ambitious, he goes to the
What do they call it?
the Major Crimes Unit, the MCU.
That's right. He goes over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He breaks dimensions.
Yeah.
And snitches on these two officers. They had bothered Jim. They had bothered
Jim and Bullock earlier
in a diner. Yeah, the diner feels very comic book diner.
And that scene
I
in
like that
particular is kind of funny because like originally Bullock didn't want to take the case on when they like go to
right when they go to the crime scene. He goes to the officer in charge of the crime scene, and he's like, hey, you didn't see me. Yeah. I'm not taking this.
Major Crimes Unit will be here any minute. And then he's like, well, your partner's already talking to the witness because Gordon's talking to Bruce Wayne. And he's just like,
looks like you're stuck.
God damn it.
Looks like you're stuck with the case, buddy.
So he wants to pass it off to Major Crimes, but Major Crimes.
And indeed, they even point out, they're like, come on, you don't want to deal with this shit.
It's Detective Montoya, and I can't remember what her partner's name is. But so they basically are like in the diner, they're like, oh, you don't want to take the case, just hand it over to us, like, and basically they
do the smart thing for once. And he's like, for once?
Yeah.
Man, what? Who the fuck are you? Don't talk to me like that.
And indeed, I love the fact that Bullock agrees to take the case out of spite. Like he won't give the case
literally
up.
And he's like, he even tells them that he's like, if you came in nice and you're like, hey, can you hand this over to us or whatever, I would have been glad to. But because you came in and you were condescending and you don't know how to show any respect, no.
This case is mine. And I kind of love that.
Here's the thing. He's slimy, but I think inherently he's decent. Like he does stick his neck out for Gordon when he didn't need to do that. He could have just been like, oh, geez, I wonder where he is, and kept living his life. But no, he went to intervene.
He at least tries to save Gordon later on in the episode.
Right.
It fails, but he tries, and bless him.
But it kind of does show the viewer in episode 1, hey, like this guy will, he even addresses Jim where he's all like, hey, maybe like, let's say that Pepper was innocent and we didn't get the guy. This is way too complicated and bigger than us, and it's going to get us killed. So, like, Jim, like, relax. We did it. Case closed. Forget it.
Yeah. What I see with Bullock, I think he is inherently like a decent person. He just knows that there's a game you have to play.
He knows how Gotham works.
He knows how Gotham works. He knows he knows the game. He knows how to play it, and he's kind of just he's
trying to tell Jim how to. And indeed, boy oh boy, is what an arc for a first episode for Gordon to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the beginning, he's like, "All right, let's do this," you know, and from the military. And there's even a scene. I had interrupted you earlier. You were saying that Penguin was kind of doing his good Samaritan act by informing MCU about.
Oh yeah. So he informs Detective Montoya and her partner that it wasn't Mario Pepper who was behind it, that it was all set up and it was all orchestrated by Fish Mooney.
Dusted under the rug, so to speak, to get it over and dealt with. Yeah. So
Detective Montoya goes and tells Barbara about this because we don't know this right now, but we find out very quickly in the show that they used to have a relationship. And
it implies it in their first meeting.
And Montoya wasn't... part of the reason why she doesn't like Gordon is because he's set to marry Barbara.
Well, right?
Which, I mean, fair.
Move on, lady. And she's like, no, he wouldn't lie about something like that. And she's all like, no, like he is or whatever. And it doesn't occur to Montoya that maybe he isn't lying, but that you're right. Maybe he wasn't part of the setup.
I find it really funny that she goes to Barbara, her ex, to basically, when she finds out that, Gordon could be dirty or could have like...
What a petty bitch.
I know. Could have like pinned this on an innocent man. She goes to basically to just slander the guy.
Yeah, and I thought Penguin was a Weasley little bitch. But yeah, she's almost more petty.
Yeah, totally. She's like, this. She goes to her ex and is like, this guy that you're going to marry? Well, I just found out that he could be dirty. He pinned the crime on this crime.
And Barbara's like, oh, I know he's dirty. Dirtier than you. And she's like, oh, yeah? Nobody's dirtier than me. So the reason I say that it makes it obvious.
I haven't showered in a week, honey.
Prove it. So she's like, I know Jim.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, does he know you as good as I know you? And she looks down at her crotch and then back up at her. I'm like, yes, we get it. You like chicks. I wonder who's watching and being like, what's their like relationship? Did she used to be a journalist or whatever? Oh, now that she stared at her groin and went, now I understand that. So in that way, there's overacting.
I've been places I've gone places he never has, honey.
Does Jim even eat ass? Huh? Does he? I didn't think so. No, he.
And will he kiss you afterward?
Why would he be afraid of kissing? He's just eating ass. So we find out that's when we get a little taste of a Penguin's ambition. And it's like, oh, this is dangerous, Pengy boy, right? But the episode does a good job of doing a lot of he said, she said, he said, or whatever, because Montoya tells Barbara obviously confronts Gordon about it. Jim's like, well, what the fuck? Where did you hear this? He confronts Montoya and he's like, hey, if this is, because the second half of the episode is Jim finding out that this was a cover up and being like, okay, if it is, I'm going to be the first to expose it then.
Yeah.
And then yada, yada, yada. Bullock tells like Fish Mooney figures out, well, wait a second. How did Montoya know? How did who knew? There's only one person that knew that we planted the pearls in like the drugs.
Oh, and funny enough, in that scene too, where she kind of puts everything together and figures out that it was Penguin who was behind it, she's alone in her club, and she's making this like
This
awkward
is so
guy
weird to me, man.
do bad stand up for her.
I feel so bad for this guy. Okay, so there's a scared looking young, I guess she has a type, like young white dudes. There's a scared looking, awkward stand-up comedian on stage at her club, and shows burlesque dancers earlier when they go visit her and that kind of thing. So, you know, she has different shows. She's alone.
Yeah.
And this guy's on the stage by himself and like, you know, Penguin's in the background.
You know
I felt so awkward in this scene, like what's it called, secondhand, like cringe or whatever. And I'm like,
right.
Oh, dude, please be funny, otherwise you're gonna die or something stupid like that.
They don't go this way,
He
but
does tell a kind of funny joke that she laughs at, thankfully.
it would be kind of neat, and they don't go this way in the show, but it would be kind of neat if this guy became the Joker. Because in one of the Joker's many origins was that he was a failed stand-up comedian.
I like it. I like it. Get this guy writing for the show.
And so the fact that he's like very awkwardly and nervously on stage, like telling really bad jokes for this audience of one, like I feel like that would be a good setup for a character to become the Joker eventually.
And he says one of his jokes, he's like, "Oh, it's not that I'm afraid of like it's not I'm afraid of death. It's just that I don't want to like die or something like that." And he's like I want to pass away like how my father passed away, peacefully in his sleep. So like nothing like the 50 passengers that were like screaming.
Oh yeah,
right? Implying that like he was a pilot and he fell asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. Or a bus driver or something.
Or a bus driver or whatever, or driver, or because he just says passenger.
I want to die peacefully in my sleep, just like my father did. Unlike the 49 other passengers in the vehicle.
Unlike the 30 to 50 feral hogs. So she laughs at that.
Gonna need 2 AR-15s for this joke.
What was that Charlie Sheen movie with like him on the front? Not Charlie Sheen. And he had the bandana, and it was supposed to be like a spoof of
Charlie Sheen. Yeah, Hot Shots.
No, it is Charlie Sheen, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
Hot Shots.
I haven't.
I went back to Hot
Shots.
I went back to Hot Shots.
Really?
In like the late 2010s, because my partner at the time hadn't seen them, and I was like, okay, this is like top tier like spoof movies, both of them, and so we watched them, and they actually hold up really well.
That just popped up into my head because you said 2 AR-15s, and he's on like the front with like 2 M16s or something like that, right?
Yeah. I think they're on Disney Plus.
Well, there you go. Here's our shout out to 90s Charlie Sheen.
90s, early 90s,
yeah. Oh Jesus, where were we? She's like, "Don't go anywhere, darling. I'll come back to you. You're hilarious." Pengy, like, Ozzy, like, come over here and like rub mommy's foot or feet or something like that. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, "Aren't I a mother to you? Don't I blah blah blah?" And then she ends up revealing that like she knows that he ratted.
Does Fish Mooney look like a bitch? Does Fish Mooney look like a bitch?
What? One more time, motherfucker.
Then why are you trying to fuck her like a bitch?
You are Ozzy.
And he's like, no, I swear.
Fish Mooney doesn't like to get fucked by anybody except Mr. Mooney.
Except Fish Mooney.
Oh, there you go. Except her. And this awkward white boy on stage.
Penguin is like, no, Fish, like, I'm loyal to you. I would open a vein for you right here, right now, if you asked me to. And she's like, okay.
And she throws him the steak knife.
Gives him a
plate.
knife. And he's like,
do it.
Well, I was
that
speaking
was
more
said in a
metaphorically.
poetic nature. Yeah. Yeah. And she turns her back on him to kind of like test or see what he would like do. And she's like, do it. And I'm like, you can survive just stabbing your arm, man. Come on, do it. Instead he tries to like rush her.
Do it now.
Do it. You're here. Meanwhile, it keeps cutting to the stand-up comic who now is even in a more awkward.
I know, and he keeps
never felt so awkward. He's keeps standing like sideways, like this,
kind of turning away.
Too. And you can't run because then, oh man, just poor guy. Fish Mooney slaps. She calls him Penguin, which like sets him over the edge or something.
Yeah.
She beats his ass, breaks a chair over his back, keeps beating him, and then we don't know what happens to him. He pops up a little bit near the end of the.
He pops up like the trunk of a car.
I was trying to get there and I couldn't. So we find out, Jim's just not letting it go. And so when you know it, when Jim goes to confront Mooney about it, fight breaks out. He beats up her goons.
Yeah, this actually happens before she figures out that it. Right before that she.
Long ass episode. A lot happens.
But before she figures out that it was Penguin, I think she confronts Penguin like almost like not too long after that. But
because Gordon was the one that came to her and was like, "Hey, what's happening here?" And that's what gave her sussiness.
But what
Baka feels.
What I found funny about that is he walks into the club and he sees Penguin there standing like at the bar, and he's like, "Tell Fish Mooney I'm here," and then just walks in.
I knew you were gonna. So Penguin's the only one there, and he's like, "Hey, tell Fish Mooney I'm here," and then like there's some words exchanged, and then he just walks past him anyway.
Yeah,
and goes to her office, right where she's got like two of her goons. And she's like, stand down. And like, he goes and like talks to her. That maybe either the writing was a little bit, and this is like my only criticism of the episode, or he just kind of like changed his mind. He's like, I'm going to get the runaround if I'm like waiting or like whatever. And so he just walks past this guy. But that also shows the viewer that people don't really take
Oswald
Penguin seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. I take it back. Actually, that's a funny scene.
Yeah, it genuinely made me laugh.
Tell Fish Mooney I'm here. Immediately walks past him. He gets beat up and taken. Jim.
Yeah, and he Butch and his cronies have him like strung up on a meat hook.
A little worrisome, yeah, because he's like waking up as he's being pulled through the meat factory where they hang the big shanks of meat. Those aren't so many movies. And Slaughterhouse? No, because that's not where the cows are. That's where I'm gonna say slaughterhouse because I don't know what else to call it. But in video games and movies, it's a cold area where big ass hunks of meat are hanging on hooks.
A meat packing plant, I believe, is what it's actually called.
We call it the meat house. There you go, meat packing plant. He gets kicked out. And they don't want to hear it, and they're setting up a video camera, and they're so technologically inept that kind of saves his life. And I'm like, why are you guys filming?
Because it's funny because Butch goes to like the cameraman. He's like, no, angle it over here. Like, we got to get a wider shot of this. And he's like, what are you, a fucking director?
He's like, oh, what are you, the next like Spielberg? And he's like, no, I just want it in the shot. What the fuck? Oh my God. Just listen to me. All right. As these like two kind of like Gen X mafioso like mobsters like try to. And I'm like, why are you recording this? And then we find out when the GIMP comes out Like, why? Is it to intimidate like the rest of the cops into doing whatever it is? We find out that Butch isn't going to be on camera. Like a torturer with like a mask comes out.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm sorry, Jim. Listen, if it was up to me, it'd be bullet in your head and, you know, a normal like funeral, and I'd leave flowers at your grave. But Mooney likes to do things her special way.
Because he's like, yeah, you know what? I like you. Up to me, bullet in the head, real nice funeral. But you know, Fish Mooney, she's got her
immediately
way.
I like this guy immediately. Right?
I like
every
Butch.
time he's on screen, I actually quite like this character, so I'm kind of glad that he sticks around. And then wouldn't you know it, somebody comes strolling in to be like, whoa, calm down. Hey.
Bullock shows up because Barbara had gone to see Bullock. She's like, hey, do you know where Jim is? And he's like, why do you ask? And she's like, well, because he hasn't been home all night. And he's like, he's fine.
Oh, he's on a stakeout.
He's just on a stakeout.
So his battery probably died or whatever. I'll let you know if he calls like the station or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay. And so he's going, wait a second. Like I would know where he is, which means, and so when Butch is like, how the hell did you know where we were?
Yeah, he's like,
what does he say? He's all like, oh, geez, you need to get rid of a cop. Like, where else would the fuck you guys are kind of predictable.
I think he said, he's like, this is where Fish Mooney gets rid of all of her problems.
Yeah, likes to get rid of all of her problems, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, let me talk to her, like, please, pretty fucking please. Like, let me talk to her first.
And he has a really good speech. I really like the speech that he gives to over the phone to Mooney. He's like,
you know who didn't?
Mooney.
But I so did I, actually.
She's like,
and it's
he's like, ahead, you know, we've I'm going to paraphrase, but he's like, we've worked, you've been running the show for so long, and like we've worked together, and like we've had a good thing, but like I can't have you killing my partner.
It's bad for business. He's the cop that just like cracked the case.
If you kill the
cop that just cracked the case like goes missing, right? Like it's going to be suspicious. And here's the thing: I need to then investigate it,
and it's gonna.
I have to.
And if I just let my partner get killed, it's gonna look bad on me. So like,
it's gonna look suspicious.
So like, if you come after my partner, like I'm sorry, I got to come after you. She's like, okay, you can let him go. Can you we'll let him go. Can you put Butch back on the phone? He's like, oh, here. And
she loses it.
She loses it
in the episode.
She loses it and immediately is like, that motherfucker just threatened me. Kill both of them.
Mm-hmm. And then he like leans down to Jim and he's like, don't worry, I got you, buddy. And then mid-sentence, he's like bonked on the head. And then like the next scene, it immediately cuts to both of them hanging upside down. And he's like, how you doing over there? So there's some humor in these. And goddamn, he's one of the actors that makes the show. And
I like how Gordon is like, he's like, well, I appreciate you trying to help.
What are friends for, or something like that. And I'm like, man.
He says, I appreciate you trying to help. And then Bullock follows it up with, yeah, well, I'm wishing I didn't.
That's what it is, right? He's like, yeah, well, I'm wishing I didn't. But yeah, I just like how that scene starts where he's like, how you doing over there? Been better. And it's like, okay, well, we got everything up, and then they're like being recorded or whatever. And it's just like, where are they going? And then they disappear, and a Resident Evil sub boss comes out, and I'm like, shit.
It looks like one of the bosses close to Resident Evil, the Evil Within.
I was gonna say that, but I actually chose Resident Evil because nobody except me has played the Evil Within. It very much looks like an Evil Within character. I really liked that first game.
You know what? I actually like the second one more.
Oh, maybe I should play it.
You should play the second one.
Or probably find it cheap.
I wasn't as high.
First one fucked me up.
I wasn't
me a bit.
I wasn't as high on the first Evil Within as I was hoping I would be, because it was from Shinji Mikami.
Yeah.
creator of Resident Evil, director of the first and fourth games. I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to, so I held off on The Evil Within 2 for a few years, but then it ended up on Game Pass. And so I took a shot in the dark, and I think it's a better game.
Damn. Huh. Look, I had assumed that it couldn't be as good because it's lost all of the novel things that the first shocked you with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the trip that was the first game. Huh, I'll have to check it out.
And the second second one's a lot more open world too. Like, not completely open world, but it's like it's a lot more open than the first game was. The first game was
losing me on open world. No.
No, it's not anywhere near as linear as the first game is.
Kind of liked that though.
And indeed, there is like a mind place, like town, that you kind of wander around in.
He has a mind palace town?
Yeah.
Instead of just like the clinic?
Go
and play Evil Within, folks.
Yes, Evil Within. That's a pretty good series.
It's like Saw meets but there's also a lot of it's like Saw meets Silent Hill.
With like the gameplay of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. Yep. I'd say that. Some freaky lots of hooks and chains. The traps.
It's
freaky.
It's definitely inspired by like the torture porn era of horror.
Mm-hmm. Except it explores psyche a little bit more and torture porn less.
And the second one
in a good way.
The second one leans more to like more supernatural type stuff.
Okay, all right, you sold me. So the first enemy from The Evil Within, comes out. He's wearing a black KKK hood, a splatter, like butcher's vest.
Apron,
armor.
Armor,
like some metal. Does he have armor?
Yeah,
it seems like he has like plate scale armor. Did I imagine that, or did he quite an outfit, I must say.
It was such quite an outfit that it seemed out of place.
Right? So much of an outfit that the police drama that we've been watching makes us think of Resident Evil. I expected him to come out with a chainsaw and be like or something like that, right?
Or like swinging a comically like oversized axe.
There we go. Oh, and he's cutting the hanging like meat.
And he's like flailing back and forth, like,
and you have to wait for him to get tired for a second to shoot the little El gun. What's the little nerve thing in Resident Evil 4?
Las Plagas. Yeah,
Plagas. That's right. Shoot that little thing on his back. But no, what ends up happening is before he like. I don't know, peels their fingernails off or something like that.
Some gangsters come in, guns blazing.
And yeah, they could have been like, hey, stop this right now. Like we're Falcone's men. No, they just like shoot like gimp mask, like torturer guy, and the goons that like lift up their things. And then like Butch is like on the side. So he didn't immediately like pull his gun, and he's like, whoa, hey, okay. And then he finds out it's like Falcone and his men, and he's like, what the fuck is the matter with you? You killing police without asking for my permission?
Yeah,
Fish Moon finally meet
Fish Mooney's getting a little too big for her britches. Nobody kills a cop in this town without my say so. And I like that. It's a power move.
Now cut him down. Yeah. And we get that little meeting with Falcone and Jim being like, hey, so Jim, ex-soldier, was in the military. Now he's a detective. His father was a DA in Gotham. Jim's a war hero, and he talks about that. Oh yeah, we were friends, and they have that exchange. And he's begrudgingly logical and likable. Like, he's like the guy's like a mob boss. There's no easier way to say it, but what he's saying makes a lot of sense. And it's like, hey, there's two different ways. Like, like he fought crime on his end, and I kept it organized on my end.
Yeah.
You know, I'd hand over the people that really needed to be handed over, and that we kept law.
Yeah, he's like, there can't be organized crime without law and order.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of like villain that I like. I like Kingpin in Daredevil for the same reason. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a villain who is like, who understands that there are rules that you have to play by. Kingpin is a little more unhinged than this version of Carmine Falcone, but I like I like criminal villains in media that understand that there are rules you have to play by and aren't just complete psychopaths.
And to really drive the point home, later on, when Bullock and Gordon are driving, they stop at a pier because they're just like reeling, and he's like, wow, I can't believe I got like out of here. And he's like, things are done a certain fucking way in this town. You got to get with the program. Okay. And he gives him indirect threats because like Jim's like seething, like you could tell he wants to fight his partner, but like he's not the one making the threats. And he's like, listen, and that car conversation, holy shit. Like it's not like Bullock is telling to threaten him. It's telling him because he's like, hey, this is just how it is, and you need to like listen. And it's basically like, hey, you try to be a good boy, good cop, not only you're going to end up dead, right? They're going to pin something on you, and it's going to make you seem like the villain. Maybe they come after Barbara. What does she know?
Yeah, who knows what you've told her?
And he gets angry, and he's like, she doesn't like know anything. And he's like, do they? He's like, this is how it's done. And they pop the trunk, and Penguin's in the back, all kind of like bloody nose and like sniveling, which is like him most of the show, but
except without the bloody nose.
Yeah.
This is what I meant when I said Bullock in this show is like, at his core, is a good guy, but he knows that there's a game that has to be played.
And he likes to keep living.
Yeah.
right. And he's like, this is the guy that like unraveled everything, and we got to get rid of him. He's like, you're going to take him, you're going to walk him to the end of that pier, and you're going to like put a bullet in his head.
Oh,
and he's like, and what if I don't? And he's like, if you don't, then I got to put a bullet in you and him.
He's like, and
I
like
don't
you,
want to do that.
And I don't want to do that. I don't have the stomach for it, but Lord knows I'll try.
Lord knows I'll try. I like the way his lines are delivered, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he is Bullock is the MVP of this show in a show that's full of MVPs.
Yes, especially for being a dude. He's just a dude.
Yeah.
And here I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but the show's better as a cop drama than it is exploring the DC comic book like heroes and villains.
I do think the show kind of leans a little too much into the like kookiness as it goes on, but it's still a fun watch.
Oh no, it definitely is. Yeah. And Gordon really sells the walk down that pier, and tells him to shut up, and Penguin's trying to be like, I'll do anything. Oh, I give a mean BJ. Come on, have some mercy. And that's no one pleads for their life more and or better than this character in the show, because he does this so much, and this guy's got 9 lives.
Yeah,
maybe he should be the cat man. And what he ends up doing is he's like, hey, like disappear from Gotham forever, and he shoots beside his head and then pushes him off the pier to make it look like he shot him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And I just like Bullock down by the car, and he's like, good man, or like,
you did the right thing, kid.
Yeah, you did the right thing, kid, or whatever. And this is like how it all starts. This is how like Falcone controls the police. You got dirt. Oh, this police killed this police officer did this. This is by forcing you into situations like this, right?
Yeah, I forgot, and
What
I
an
forgot
episode to fully kind of just show the viewer it's like, hey, this is how the city works.
I forgot to mention that when Falcone is talking to Gordon in that like really good like speech that he gives him, he also tells him that the reason why they pinned the Wayne murders on this Mario Pepper guy was because people need to feel safe. They needed the case to be solved quickly, and people need to
They
feel
need to know their
safe.
police are like, like the
Or looking out
heroes,
for
and they
them.
need to looking out for them, right? And here's the thing too. They mention like his charges, like a dozen like domestic abuse charges, sexual assault. Like if anyone's gonna get killed and be blamed for this, and his wife and child are like horrified.
Yeah, we can see that he's clearly been beating the shit out of his wife. It's like
I'm kind, and
I
that's
don't
where I'm like,
I don't really
maybe this is the guy that this guy might be worse than the guy that killed Bruce's the Bruce's mom and dad.
Yeah, I don't it's like, yeah, they pinned this murder on him and he ended up getting killed, but I'm kind of like, so it's not like he was a good guy
Kind of
anyway.
seems like they improved multiple people's lives by getting rid of this guy.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I think Bullock actually mentions at some point in the episode, or was it Falcone? I can't remember, but it was characters mention about doing bad things so good can come out of it, and I'm like, this is a
That's
good
why I'm like,
example of that.
this guy, he's making a lot of good points.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, like I said, this is my favorite depiction of Carmine Falcone.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and we get that scene where Gordon drives to the Wayne Manor to essentially kind of be all like, hey, I failed you. Right. But as he's pulling up, Bruce
Yeah.
is on the rooftop,
He's on
like
the
at the
rooftop
edge, as if he's going to jump.
as if he's going to jump, and this made me laugh. Gordon sees Alfred and like kind of silently like gestures to like look up, and Alfred like looks up and he's like,
Oh, not again.
he's like, Bruce, get your bloody ass down from there.
And says something like, "Oh, I can't believe he's done this like again," and goes inside to imply that like he's been doing this a lot. And then we find out later when they're all sitting next to the fireplace, looming in the background whenever it shows Bruce. I like those shots. That's that I don't know. It's just it's iconic. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it also shows he's unusually intelligent, not emotionally, but like logically. Possibly might become the world's greatest detective.
Possibly.
Possibly. Possibly might join a secret sect of ninja that is yet to be seen.
Known as the League of Assassins, which I think they actually get into in the show.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
That's funny.
Ra's al Ghul was a character in the show.
Gotta bring in. Yeah. He hands him the badge and he's like, hey, here's all the truth. It's like that was covered up on this guy, an innocent guy died. And that's where I'm like, hold on, innocent for that crime. The guy isn't innocent.
Yeah.
That guy, if there's a heaven, that guy ain't it. But like, hey, this guy died, and Alfred's like, well, who's the real
It's like
killer? And
it's like if you go back in
don't
time, if you go back in time and you kill the baby Hitler, even though like, you're killing a baby, like I'm not really going to feel all that bad about it because the world's going to be better off,
And then in the new timeline, when you go up to heaven, God is like, or maybe he sends out Jesus and he's like, hey, so you killed a baby?
So Jesus. So I'm dead. I'm at like the pearly gates, and all of a sudden a taxi pulls up, and the window rolls down, and there's Jesus being like,
and there's
"Hey,
Jesus.
hey, you need a
Hey.
lift?"
Need a lift? And you get in, and the driver turns, and he's wearing like stunner shades, and he's like, "It's time to make some crazy money." And he's like, "So you changed the timeline for the better," and you're like, "I sure did." Baby killing is a hard one to.
Kind of broke one of the commandments.
Also, babies are pretty innocent. You could have gone back and like killed art school Hitler.
But Lord, that wouldn't have worked nearly as well for my analogy. To hell with you. Stamp. Rejected.
The
I,
bottom
like,
of the
comically,
taxi
like,
opens up, and you just
I comically like fall through the floor. I land in hell, and all of a sudden, there's this Jay and Silent Bob there. And Jay is
Holy
like,
shit, where the fuck did you come from?
"Hey man, you got any weed?"
And you're like, what? No? And they're like, oh, figures, welcome to hell, where
That-
no one's got weed.
That's our own personal. Our own personal hell for me and Silent Bob here. Ain't got no weed, ain't got no booze, ain't got no bitches.
Unless you want to grow your hair out. Snoogans. Anyways, where the fuck was it?
Would you fuck me?
Would
I'd
you
fuck me.
I'd fuck me. And that's how it ends with Christopher Siege in hell, but somehow got into Jay and Silent Bob's personal hell. No, he tries to give Jim tries to give his badge to Bruce, and kudos to the actor. Says a lot without saying anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the expression is kind of like, no, you're a good, again, maybe I'm reading too into it, but like, hey, you're a good cop. Like, and then he gives him the badge back. Like, again, doesn't like say anything, but it's kind of like, or maybe you could keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, because he tried, he's like, I made a promise to you that I was going to bring your parents' killer to justice, and I failed. So I'm gonna hand in my badge, and he slides it to him, and Bruce just like looks at him and looks at the badge and doesn't say anything, and then slides the badge back to him. It is a pretty powerful moment.
I was almost choked up. I was all like, oh shit, damn, this is a good finale to the episode. Well, almost finale. And before that, I was like, oh geez, this kid's he wants some vengeance. He's like, I'm glad he's not dead, because I want to see him again. I'm like, damn, that's not very Batman-like.
Well, he is only like 12 here.
Mm-hmm. So, he goes back to being Detective Gordon, and we see almost like a baptism in the filthy, putrid waters of Gotham Bay. We see a penguin come out of the water, gasping for air. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the first thing he does as he's shivering and climbing the shore is he grabs a knife from a fisherman, slashes his throat, and feverishly starts eating his sandwich.
I actually laughed out loud that like his first instinct, he washes ashore after this like near death experience, finds a fisherman, and his first instinct is to stab him, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. And then take his sandwich.
So it shows that he's unremorseful, unwilling to like change, and extremely like sadistic. Like he's not afraid of like, and dangerous in his own way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like there are two characters where we've seen this like metamorphosis. We've seen like Gordon go from, all right, I'm ready to solve crimes, to him like showing up back to his apartment where Barbara's like, holy shit, you're like alive. And he's got like bandages like everywhere and like stitches and stuff. And he just kind of silently like comes back home. And then we see like that not only is he leaving Gotham, um, maybe he's he's a little bit more feisty.
To
This
quote
Penguin.
to quote another universe's Jim Gordon in The Dark Knight, where he says, "I don't get points for being an idealist. I do the best I can with what I have." And I feel like that is the lesson that this young Gordon has now learned throughout this episode.
Mm, that's a good point. Yeah. And well, I guess Penguin's not leaving Gotham.
Nope.
So if it hasn't been painfully obvious,
So,
um,
yeah, Cal, you just caught the first episode randomly of Gotham.
mhm, mhm.
Would you tune in again?
Oh God, no, no, no. Yeah, it's damn, it's I had forgot how good the show was. This is like one of the best episode ones of like any show
Yeah,
I've seen.
yeah. Like I said, this
So
series
definitely.
really hits the ground running with the first episode. And yeah,
Hmm.
I would tune in again. In fact, I'm going to rewatch the show because I never did actually finish it. I never saw the
I didn't
final
quite
season.
finish it. I didn't see the final season, and then like kind of stopped watching in like the penultimate like season. I was like a few episodes in, and then it was all over the place, and I kind of fell off the Gotham wagon.
Yeah, I had watched. So I watched the first season of this show when it first aired, and then I kind of fell off of it because stuff was going on in my life. And then a
Mhm.
few years later, while the fifth season was on TV, I didn't have cable at the time, but the first
Mm.
four seasons were on Netflix. So I watched seasons two, three, and four, and then just never got around to the final season. But I think now I'm going to.
Maybe I should just finish. I'm more easygoing now. So I'll be like, if things are cheesy or like corny or cringy or there are plot holes, I'm just like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So maybe I'll finish it up too. And yeah, there it is. Um, Probably one of the more positive reviews we've ever given on the Laser Comb podcast.
yeah, I would say so.
Like, holy shit! Like, I was pumped. Like watching this, I was like, damn, this every scene in this, and again, a lot to cover, and we didn't cover like everything, but like every scene in this is something to enjoy.
We've been pretty high on a lot of shows lately, though. To be fair, like we were really high on Lost Girl,
Lost Girl, yeah,
surprisingly.
that was great. Yeah,
Uh,
very surprising. That's probably the most surprising setup and review we've ever seen.
yeah, that was the biggest 180 that
I
I've
remember
done.
you reading the Wikipedia and like being like,
Wincing.
I'm calling it now. Yeah, like wincing, and you're like, I'm going to hate this.
I've watched the first few episodes of the show too. Now since then,
Mhm.
yeah, and we really liked Spawn. We really liked Savage Dragon.
Oh yeah.
I think we really liked Wildcats as well. So we've statistically, I think we end up liking more things than disliking them.
Hmm. Hmm. Unbiased, completely.
Well, that was episode 123 of the Lasercomb podcast. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. Starting at the $5 tier, you get access to our bonus weekly Patreon exclusive show, the Super Lasercomb Patreon Super Show. $10 tier, you get that, the occasional commentary track, and the ability to pick a show for us to review a random episode of on this very podcast. So if you want to get in on that, go to patreon.com/lasercomb. Join the Discord, link in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, give the video a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We will be back next week with, well, I want to give
New month.
a new
Go ahead.
month. I want to give a shout out here to Jared because Jared, and in all honesty, this was something that actually hadn't occurred to me. So apologies to you for this, Cal. But Jared pointed out to me that we hadn't explicitly done anything that you had picked in quite a while. And I was just like,
Or me.
oh well, Cal doesn't usually pitch stuff very often. But Jared was like, let's get some Cal picks going. So that's what we're
thanks
going to
for
do.
pointing that out.
So, so thanks to Jared. And once again, apologies to you, Cal, because I didn't, it was just something I never really thought about.
I'm glad somebody cares.
So
next month, the month of June is it's Cal shows, but to be more specific, because I like torturing Siege, it is Cal picking anime month. But because we like to have themes, right? Like
yeah.
But specifically, and it's not always going to be things that I've seen. Specifically, like Netflix originals.
Netflix original animes, yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you decide we were going to start with?
We're edging.
Uh-oh.
We're edging. We're watching Cyberpunk Edge Gooners.
You know what? Sorry, I just realized I was looking at one of my tabs. We didn't even mention the fact that lackadaisical is a word that keeps popping up in that episode of Gotham, which I didn't know what it meant. So I Googled it, and it means lacking enthusiasm and determination, carelessly lazy.
I knew what lackadaisical meant.
I did not.
Well, there you go. That's the word of the day.
That's the word of the day. So
Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Cyberpunk.
It had one season. Well, one story.
Cyberpunk sled funners.
Edge Gooners.
Cyberpunk
Time to run along the edge.
And I'll share an anecdote about Cyberpunk Edge Runners next week, because I have a little bit of history with that show.
I've heard.
I'm going to hit screen share and share the screen, not sound. It had 10 episodes. So one random number between 1 and 10, and here we go. 10.
Oh shit. Here we go.
All right. That's the final episode of the series.
It sure is. What an episode to land on.
My moon, my man.
Oh man.
I'm not gonna read too much about it, because for this theme that it is of Cal's choosing, I am going to go in completely raw dogging.
He's going in fresh. He's not reading the summaries.
I'm going to go into all of these knowing as little as I possibly can.
Oh man, I have to watch the last episode again. All right.
Well, we'll be back next week with that. And until then, I have been G Siege PD, one of your hosts.
And I'm Cal, the crime boss, Calcone.
Calmine Calcone.
Calmine Calcone.
Thanks for listening. We will fish your moonies next week.
Disgusting.
Bye-bye.